They came to the Midwest armed with lipstick, eyeliner, and naked ambition. They were the ringleaders of a rock and roll circus featuring furious riffs and scandalous behavior. A story of 6 extremely hungry musicians straight up the streets of St. Louis.
You know, when we started out, I was literally living in a Johnny on the spot.
That rose to rock and roll stardom overnight.
I still choose to live in that same Johnny.
Grabbing the decade of decadence by the tail, Johnny Rock-itt captured the soundtrack of a generation.
We wanted to be the most glamorous, the most outrageous, the most sleaziest band around.
With never-before-seen footage and exclusive outtakes, witness a hard-working band's hedonistic heights.
Cars, girls, parties, we wanted it all.
And horrific lows.
I drank a lot before, during, and after every show.
They were loud, lusty, and lucky. They were everything they ever wanted to be. Now the wild and wicked tale of glam rock's most loved and hated band. Club-sized stage, arena-sized attitude. It's time to spray up the hair and take a rocket ride with Johnny Rock-itt and the Double Wide Symphony.
See Johnny Rock-itt when they're in their area?
Like every single time. They have such a good time whenever they play. Like you can tell that they're just having the best time of their lives on stage.
It was 1984, the year of the Rock-itt, when a hungry pack of hard rockers exploded onto the scene and became princes of the glam rock revolution. Johnny Rock-itt hooked endless numbers of fans with their outrageous hijinks and turned all of America into their own personal playground. Throughout the 80s, Johnny Rock-itt covered hundreds of songs. Releases like Got You Covered, Cover to Cover, and of course Run for Cover were instant hits with the in-crowd. And all of the band's decision to release an album of all original material, Tonight Only, No Cover, was universally slammed both critically and commercially. The Platinum Party defiantly played on until the good times got ugly. But not long after pushing their lavish lifestyle to the limit, Johnny Rock-itt went over the edge. Lead guitarist Kevin Rockett's infamous infatuation with stag beer soon developed into a full-blown alcoholic addiction that would send the band into a downward spiral from which it might never recover.
Then instead of drinking, he stepped into the snorting of the stag.
It was completely out of control. Way out of control.
I was like, look man, either put down the bottle or I'm putting down the sticks.
The group knew that in order to save their ailing guitarist, it was going to take more than just the words of his bandmates to get him through his substance abuse. So they reached out to an old friend of Kevin's that had been down a similar road, CC DeVille Poison.
When CC stepped in and tried to help with the intervention, man, I thought that it was going to be on the path of survival.
With CC by Kevin's side, so began the long road to recovery. Also during this turbulent time, an internal conflict arose between guitarist Dr. Nick and singer Ryan Rock-itt, who would eventually be dubbed the Spandex Twins by their peers and the media. According to sources close to the band, a pair of spandex pants arrived anonymously in the mail addressed to Johnny Rock-itt. When both members jumped at the chance to lay claim to the leopard print spandex, each assuming themselves to be the intended recipient, a decade-long dispute began that would spell the beginning of the end for the band.
Well, it depends on if you ask Ryan or if you ask me.
Well, what's Dr. Nick's side of the story?
Those were my spandex.
Those spandex were meant for me and me only.
If you took Ryan's ego and Dr. Nick's ego and put them in a box, that'd be a really big box.
As on-stage fighting continued, other band members began breaking away from the pack to take on personal ventures and side projects. Keyboardist Kenny Rock-itt, who had been composing a Broadway musical about synchronized tennis since he was 16, finally had the opportunity to complete his masterpiece as the bickering between Dr. Nick and Ryan led to the cancellation of several shows and recording sessions.
Yeah, I started moonlighting a couple years ago when the band was off a couple years. They took a break, and I thought this would be the perfect time for my music. You know, in the band, I play a part. Back in Kevin and Nick up, that's their world, that's their vision. In this world, it's my vision.
Bassist Mike Rock-itt opened a line of chicken sushi restaurants in the Midwest called the Raw Cock. He had 6 raw cocks erected in the region, only to have them immediately shut down by the local health authorities.
You know, basically, I just washed my hands clean of it and picked up the bass, you know, started playing again.
For drummer Joe Rock-itt, as signs of a dissolution of the band became more evident, so did the growing embarrassment and disappointment in his bandmates. Not wanting to ever speak about them again, he sold his drum kit on eBay and exited the band quietly to become a street corner mime. Eventually, the power struggle between Nick and Ryan came to a head, resulting in a hiatus from the band for Ryan.
He left the band.
I was fired.
It was like you and then out he went and searched for a new singer.
But just when things looked the darkest for Johnny Rock-itt, newly sober guitarist Kevin Rock-itt emerged from rehab and took it upon himself to mend fences within the band. He reached out to Nick and Ryan, who, after realizing their success without one another would be minimal, decided to give the group another go. Soon after, the band was again performing to packed stadiums on their recent reunion tour. And with the upcoming release of their tell-all biography, The Dust, and follow-up DVD entitled Rinse and Repeat, Johnny Rock-itt is primed to become even bigger and badder the second time around. So get ready, Johnny Rock-itt fans. It's time to take a rocket ride!
Gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. We've got no right to choose it. There ain't no way we'll lose it. This is our life, this is our song. We'll fight the powers that be. Just don't pick our destiny, 'cause you don't know us, you don't belong.
I am terribly sorry.